Hey guys, and welcome to the Mysteries of Selindor episode 156 or 7.
5, I think.
Something like 155. I feel like we're going backwards. I don't know.
Oh, this is episode 63.
Anyways, last time we did a whole bunch of minutia and the stream crashed. Well, I guess the stream didn't crash. Our cat turned off the computer twice. So, luckily it was during a session where we did nothing important and probably shouldn't have done it on stream to begin with. But here we are. And so tying up all the last of your loose ends before you go meet up with everybody who is having a say in planning the events that are going to be taking place in the Cauldron of Life, retaking it from whatever has made a nest there. What are the last things you guys would like to do? And for the things you know you're going to do, you know what the roles are, so... Tinker checks. Go.
Okay. Yep, give him all of his advantages and everything.
25 with the... That's already a 34.
Then his guidance.
So,
Robsy is definitely giving enhanceability and guidance.
so
Well, he
that's
doesn't
a
even need
Enhanceability and
enhance.
inspiration.
He doesn't even need enhanceability.
And what is
because
this that you're
sometimes
working on here? Which item is this?
I don't think anyone else needed anything crafted, so that'd be the shoulder pauldron.
So the soldier... Okay. So what was your goal for this one? Were you doing the Constitution added to it, or were you...
If someone has some gold, they can spot me. Yep.
Yeah, I covered your gold cost.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so that's a +3 at 35.
+3. Okay. And then I guess we got to roll to cut that gem up.
You already
acidic
cut up
amber.
the... You already cut up the lightning one, didn't you, or no?
No, we haven't cut that one.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna do the acid one for this thing.
Do we not use Cleary for that with like the light splitter?
If you use Cleary, it will automatically... You could certainly use Light Splitter to cut it, for sure. You don't need to use anything else, but...
Yeah,
feel like
the
he would
rolls
probably
were to
be
see
really
how many
good.
we would get, right?
I mean, yeah. But you were cutting them as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
So, like Cleary cutting them with light splitter is probably ideal. It's like, oh, you want tiny horse figurines? Like,
I mean, if you wanted tiny horse figurines, he could give you tiny horse figurines.
no, just kidding.
He could do some crazy stuff with this that isn't listed. But, you know. He left it up to the group with how you guys wanted to use these. But yeah, it's a tinker check to cut it, the gemstone.
Okay.
And then you're gonna end up rolling, as long as you're successful.
It's
20.
20.
With a 20, you're only gonna get 1d6.
Oh, that's for the large one.
Two.
So that's 2.
2 pieces of amber that are worth 30 gold pieces each. And then for small pieces, only 1d4.
You say 30 gold each?
30 gold each.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just amber.
2.
So you got 2 little small pieces of amber. So you got a couple of pieces of amber, and then 2d4 for dust.
Assume those small ones are 10.
Yep.
Uh, 5.
5 little baggies of amber.
Makes sense that you'd
Dust.
have more amber with having fewer gems. Or more dust with having fewer gems.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, I believe Grim also wanted you to try crafting him a ring of resistance of some kind, using one of the random topazes you have laying around.
Yeah, I could do it. I could try that.
So that would just be simple crafting. And then, Mitnir, if you wanted to breathe on his pauldrons, go ahead and do so.
Yeah.
Do it.
We're almost done, I swear. If there's anybody watching this, we are done after this.
Breathe. Oh,
20, just barely missed.
Just barely. If you were level 20, that would have done it.
you were level 20. That's so close. Big whammies, no money.
And then, so that's just a tinker check, right, for the ring?
Yep.
Yeah, it shouldn't
Then
be too difficult to
from
make
your
it, right?
pool of gemstones, 34.
Oh, you nat 20.
Go ahead and
That
add
helps.
the D12 and D4.
Why not? It's gonna be the best rare item that's ever been made.
Plus 6, that's 41, right?
42.
43.
42, 43.
Oh, 40. Look at that.
43. Okay, almost the meaning of life. Yeah, so you very deftly, after working with items of resistance and your knowledge with Radiant, it is very simple for you to put together a ring of Radiant resistance. That said, with a roll of 42, Mitnir, when you do your breath on this, because it has no other effects that he's attempting to put into it, I'm going to say that you get a +5 or a -5, depending if you're top or bottom,
Okay.
for your breath.
Don't roll a 50, Mitnir.
It's 85,
Yes!
so it's good either way.
It's good either way.
That would be a
85.
90.
All right. Well, let me get to my artifacts page real quick.
If only we could
Oh,
transfer
right.
that plus or -5 to the other roll.
Okay, and then go ahead, since you're the one who did the breath. Roll a D100.
Another D100. Got it. 45.
45. Okay. And then also do it again.
37.
7. Okay, so you, Grim, choose which one you want to be major and which one you want to be minor.
Oh
Those
dear.
numbers. Don't look.
I'm not gonna look. I want the 37 to be the major and the 45 to be the minor.
45 to be a minor.
Because the
Okay.
37 is a prime, right?
Choose a second resistance.
A second resistance? Oh, perfect. Then psychic.
Okay, so it's psychic and radiant resistant ring, dual resistances, because that's what 45 on the minor is. Well, attuned to this artifact is what it technically says, but it doesn't require attunement because it's a 42 plus. You have resistance against one damage type of the DM's choice. So I allowed you to choose. And then for the 37, when you hit with a weapon attack, the target takes 1d6 damage of radiant and 1d6 radiant or 1d6 of psychic.
Here you go. Want to shillelagh the crap out of things. Actually, I could. My on hit, if I were to hit things with a shillelagh, would be like. What would it be? Well, anyway, I'd have 3 1d6s plus my shillelagh damage, but.
That's been pretty solid. Okay, so with that, is everybody done? Nobody's making anything else.
Nope.
We're done rolling.
Not
guys
until
have
we're in the
spent-
middle of something else.
Forever in the cauldron.
I don't think you
And it's
rolled for
been-
my last 2 tattoos, but I mean, I'm having Clary do them. He's got
He
advantage.
succeeded in
and
making your
inspiration.
tattoos. consider your tattoos successful.
Hi.
That said, we're moving on. So, with everything that you guys have crafted, all the tattoos you received, I'm going to say with the collection of materials you needed, the amount of time for enchanting, this has taken 2 months or 2 days of real lifetime. So,
We still have like 4 days left.
so you come out of the cauldron or don't, but you still have 4 days left until the effective meeting date.
Well, we should try to find out where. We should try to help Destrin and find out where another one of Vera's swords might be.
Where
You
would we
can
even
try.
start to look?
I don't know.
There's no, you. I will say during these few months, you've done what little investigating work you could do in the cauldron, but that's going to come up to pretty much bupkis. But you can give it a shot. Make an investigation check.
First thing I would call my other sisters and be like, "What's the deal with these swords?"
Which sister?
Well, I would start with like Hyacinth and maybe Shadow. Shadow knows things. I only got a 20.
With your 20 investigation check, you call your sisters up. First, you call Lady Hyacinth, and she says, "I'm very sorry, dear, but I never really understood our, well, I guess you could call her our sister. Though not technically cut from the same cloth, she was adopted in a way. But I never really understood her dalliances with blades. Made very little sense. I understood the idea of giving them an ego, though. Perhaps she trapped souls within them as a form of punishment? I'm not entirely certain, but I don't know where she keeps them. I have no interest."
Do you know who would know?
Well, as far as I'm aware, the only person you could really bother asking is her. Or one of her many Shadakai that she sends looking for her little baubles throughout the multiverse.
Okay. Hey, Dad.
You try to ring your dad on a seal.
Sure, or just send him. I'll just send him a message.
Okay, send him a message.
I hear Vera's got this thing with swords. What's that about? We found one. It was crazy. Are there more?
Yes, I believe there are definitely more. Where they might be, I couldn't tell you. I could spend a moment passing through the weave to find out for you.
That would be dope.
Said I could, I did not say that I would.
Okay, well, if you did, it would be dope.
And you remember that this is him sending a message and he's not responding to you. He just added on his own. I said I could. I didn't say I would. And that's the end of the message.
Well, what if I tried that? Hang on. One of the nights when I go to bed, I will try to use Dream of the Blue Veil again, but instead of like looking for a person specifically, I'm going to sort of think about, because these swords are like sentient, kind of, right? So I'm going to think about a sword that has that reminds me of the sword that we found, but isn't the same sword that we found.
Okay, you're gonna have to give me a second, okay? Because I wasn't prepared for you guys to go looking for swords on your time.
I mean, we've got so much
I have to
time.
go-
We might as well try
I
to
have to
help.
go. I have to go look it up real quick.
Just remember that us doing too much of it does kind of negate the purpose.
Yep.
Well, I don't want to go get it for her. I just want to tell her where it is. Because I don't want to get stuck taking some random person with us into this death trap. I'd like to take Destrin.
I mean, it wouldn't be random. There's only so many champions available.
Okay, well, but person we don't know and probably can't trust.
Can't really argue with that one.
That's because it's a good point.
Go ahead and roll me a D100. We'll see if you can
D100.
locate it with your just kind of searching for it.
69!
Unfortunately, you do not find any information with a 69, although it is a very good number.
Fuck. Oh well, I tried.
So now I don't need my sapphire buckler anymore if somebody wants it.
No, thank you.
Does Bropsy want it? It has resistance to psychic and thunder damage.
That feels pretty good.
It doesn't have any AC bonus other than the +2 base, but it can detect aberrations. And when you take damage from a creature within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to deal 2d6 thunder damage to that creature. I just always forget to do it.
So Bropsy is currently using a shield that provides resistance to cold damage.
Right,
And it's a +3 AC.
Right, the cold iron shield that I used to have. That we got from when we fought the white dragon.
The sapphires, what was it, psychic and thunder?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm very attached to my shield just because I've had it the whole campaign.
What is it?
The Sentinel shield.
I don't know what that does.
It's only +2, but it gives me advantage on initiative and perception checks.
Oh.
Does this buckler take up a hand, technically?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like strapped to the wrist buckler or hand buckler.
If you're using a shield, it'll always take a hand unless it's the I don't remember if it's called the animated shield or if it's called something else, but it floats.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that specific shield, no, it's
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I can keep my sapphire buckler, but I mean, really, it doesn't really provide much benefit now, other than the thunder reflect damage. I'd be better served by just like a +2 shield or something. For a couple extra AC.
Yeah, I just made a psychic resistance item, so if we wanted to min-max and keep these items, Bropsy could take that one, I could take Bropsy's, and you could take the Sentinel shield. Then everybody gets new resistances that they don't already have. They're not doubling up on something.
I would probably just I have like trade fodder. I would probably just trade at a magic item store and just get a +2 shield
get
or something.
Better.
Yeah. Well, just like a regular old +2 shield. Anyway.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about that now.
Yes, what would people like to do? Obviously, you're still asking around, but from within the cauldron sending messages, you weren't able to find out much information about where any other weapons that
after we get out of the
Zara
cauldron, it'll have been like 2 days.
Correct.
So
did you send a message to the Black Razor?
I don't know what the capacity to communicate with a sentient weapon is.
I could try. I mean, hi, Black Razor. Long time no see. Hope you're well. Curious if you know the whereabouts of any of, like, the other swords? Just asking for a friend who is not me.
This will be another divine intervention roll, so roll a d100. Because you are trying to talk to a weapon that you did recently just give to a god. So it's
Sure.
in their possession.
68!
No. Instead, you get... If you want me to choose this champion you recommended, perhaps you should let her do the finding herself.
Oh, fine. You know me. Just can't stop meddling in stuff that's none of my business.
Also, don't talk to Black Razor. He's being punished right now.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Sorry.
It is fine. Goodbye.
Bye. Have a nice day.
I
I
should have
think
been like, is there one you want back more than others though? Like,
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, sorry. I'm really tired after the 2 months of getting tattoos that we just did.
Every day, like 8-hour sessions.
I mean, yeah, after 2 months,
like
I
our
think
skin is just raw.
maybe I didn't get enough tattoos, because in 2 months I could have sold some Aquim and stuff and, you know, made some money.
Use Aquam for your tattoo ink and just have like living tattoos.
That would have been dope as hell.
Yeah, we could have gathered more Aquam while we were there too.
You see Cleary's fingers are just like stained with all these different types of ink and stuff, and they're kind of like smoking a little bit from his charred fingertips from his fractures, and he's just like, I need a bit of a break from tattooing.
You're supposed to wear gloves when you do it, you know.
Yes, but my gloves were very nice, and I didn't want to make them dirty, and well, we don't
You
really
need
have
self-cleaning
disposable gloves.
You need like what the Sanisphere, but as gloves.
Did you want to spend your time in the Sanisphere while I was giving you a tattooing?
No.
Yes, I think you very much enjoyed laying in a nice, lavish mansion while you got your tattoo.
I mean, I'll enjoy anything if I'm in a nice, lavish mansion.
Indeed. Well,
I made it.
as it is, if there's any more business we'd like to attend to, now would be a good time. Otherwise, I'm sure we could meet up with people early and begin strategizing. Have a few days to talk it out. I can begin sussing out what the different battalions might have in store, which ones we are going to be given
We
command
probably
over,
should
as it were.
try to do some recon and some prep. I've been trying not to think about it because going in there scares the shit out of me, but you're right. It's time to start thinking about it.
Yes. We basically had a 2-month vacation. Granted, we spent almost all of it cheering on Orin, or me, while we did our tattooing and stuff. It was a fun little group experience. I heard Grim took I forget, the House of Fate, I believe it is called, the gambling den on the western side of the lock, for quite a bit of money, actually, for quite a few magic items. He's got a bit of a reputation over there. And
He's just got like a backpack full of junk. Like, yeah, I don't need all this crap.
And of course, I've been learning to swim at the theme park on the east side, and well,
You're
it was
getting
quite
very
nice.
good at it. I'm so proud of you.
Well, floaties are like a very fun thing that people have invented.
They are.
There's one little aquam tube that is lower density than water itself to float down the rivers on. Quite enjoyed that. Anyways.
You know, I could lend you my ring of water walking anytime, and you can just sit down on top of the water or whatever.
That's true. I very well could, but unfortunately my rings are old use at the moment. Between the one you gave me and the other one, and well, all sorts of things. Anyways, moving on. I do believe that if that's fine with everyone, I will go leave the cauldron and go speak to the council and get the specifics. You could wait here if you like, or if there's anything any of you would like to do outside the cauldron, you could do that as well. But I say we meet here in the cauldron tomorrow, outside the cauldron time.
So for anyone who stays in the cauldron, that's like another month from now.
Correct.
Well, I'm definitely coming with you if you're going to be gone for a whole month.
That's it. It has been 2 months, has it not? Probably a good idea to check your jar.
Oh yeah,
Sometime.
we have 1,000 gold diamond in the jar for 2 months now.
Oh, that's
So,
right. What do I
shall
roll
we?
again?
It's on the item.
Jar of...
Not it. Somebody else be responsible for how badly this
I
could
have-
go.
Let's see, I have that somewhere on my bag, don't I? I'll just look it up. Jar of multiplicity. Hopefully I don't have 2 of them on there now. Let's see, what's the rolls? 1 to 20, it's lost. 21 to 40, no effect. 41 to 60, flawed copy. 61 to 85, mundane, perfect copy. 86 to 95, 1 additional mundane copy. Blah, 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 per number above 85. 96 to 100, 1 mundane copy becomes absolute perfect copy for each number above 45. Okay, let's roll it. How many weeks? It's been 8 weeks? Oh!
Yep.
26.
So flawed.
No, that means nothing happens.
Grim, why do you keep breaking my stuff?
So you
Uh,
open
oh,
it up, and the
it's a
diamond is still
diamond!
sitting inside.
Wow,
Well,
this is
put it back
taking a
in.
while to cook.
Let it keep
It
cooking.
must be on outside of the cauldron time.
It's like, oh, who didn't seal the lid properly?
Sorry guys, that was me. It's a close, make sure it's nice and close it on there. Oh,
Well, at least probably leave that in here regardless. You're someone you can trust, if you're not coming out yourselves. Otherwise, I'll see you all tomorrow or in a month. Goodbye. And he begins heading towards the butthole.
I'm going with him.
Actually, no, he heads to the temple because that's the exit. My bad.
Yes. Good catch.
He goes to the Temple of Purity. And there's like a bit of a line. There's people like going up and they're like saying goodbye. It's like, I won't see you for a month. It says, it'll only be a day for me though. I won't even be able to get that much done. He's like, yeah, but it'll be a whole month for me. You can come with me, but I've got work. I can't miss a whole month. So there's like a couple of sob stories like that. But otherwise, people are moving the line along, and it's almost like just like going to the airport. You know, they're just like, "All right, what are you taking? What are you claiming taking to the outside world? We don't want there to be an overflow of aquam. Check your bags, make sure you're not just shoveling pounds and pounds of aquam." It's like, "Are you declaring any vegetables?"
The whole way there, Seti's just like, I can't believe none of them said, no, Seti, don't go. We don't want to be without you for a whole month. Maybe we should all just go.
Mitnir's actually following behind you because he wants to go see the storage stick tree.
Oh,
He's gonna
okay.
hang out here for another month collecting aquam.
Grim's gonna go to the what's that? The Fey market.
Sure, yeah.
It's got stuff to trade, and he wants a better shield, so that's where
Sure.
he's headed.
Seti, don't go. Like,
So when you go to the Temple of Purity, you'll see that the tree is in fact a tree now. It has grown, and it is a central feature point in the center. It's like a totem that goes straight up and is carved around the center, but there's like branches that seem to be like growing out of it. They don't have any carvings on the branches part. You haven't made it that high or anything. But it seems to have silver, like sort of like slightly shimmering like white silver leaves growing out of it.
Know what I'm doing for the next month while Eddie's gone?
Just carving stuff.
No, I'm gonna just meditate underneath it.
Oh.
Yeah, so you look and you see like your recent excursions are on there. You're traveling into the fire, Trial of Fire and the Trial of Earth, and you even see what appears to be, well, actually, go ahead and make me a perception check to let me know what you can glean from it.
It's not terrible. That's a 16.
You see a bunch of tentacles. And I will say that you see some ships, storms, seem to be like twisting around in this section. You can't make sense of everything that's going on, but it's very chaotic. You see some sort of winged creature that seems like prevalent and terrifying to look at. Other than that, can't really make sense of what's going to happen, just chaos. Okay. And as Cleary and Seti exit the cauldron, they find themselves immediately swept into like a sort of tube on the outside that seems to be like a walkway that runs all the way across, so you don't have to have like some sort of vehicle or water breathing anymore. They've built like a sort of walkway
Well, that's a nice
that makes
touch.
it all the way from the cauldron to Coral Weave, but there's an offshoot to the side where there are already teleportation rooms that you can use to go anywhere you want within Selindor. So you don't even have to travel back to Coral Weave or back and forth there anymore. You can just go to the little building that they have made. It's inside of a bubble, just right to the side.
Remember how the Dawn like kidnapped us in Coral Weave and was like, "You're going to do a thing for me," and then we kind of like did it, but like we never really talked to him again. We just sort of bounced.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
That
yes.
was crazy.
Yes, we just sort of got swept under the rug, I suppose. I guess once they realized that we were significantly more important than what was going on in the tiny city, they decided not to impose upon us anymore.
Yeah, see, I tried to tell him from the get-go, but, you know, sometimes people don't believe what a big deal you are until you just go show them what a big deal you are.
Indeed.
Sorry, I'm really tired today.
Oh no, it's perfectly fine. We've had a lot going on lately, and we've also done a lot of resting lately, which is make you even more tired for some reason.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
we
hard
just
to-
need a fight. We'll be right back in it.
Oh boy. Don't let Mitnir hear you say that.
Don't worry. Last I saw, he was staring at a tree. Well, as it is, gives you a big kiss and says, "I'm off to go learn what the specs are."
Alright, well, I'm around.
Oh wait, do you not have anything to do out here?
Oh, I'm just hanging along with you.
Oh, okay. Well then,
But if this is like ambassador.
yes, right. I'll be heading to the Nexus, and more importantly, to the Council Chambers. You wouldn't be able to enter for the Council Chambers right now, because as a liaison, I will be receiving the information and just a whole bunch of bureaucracy and the like. But find something to do in the Nexus while I'm doing that, and we can meet in about 2 hours.
Okay.
Well, okay. Big kiss. And as you guys teleport to the Nexus, you part ways. He gets on your guys' little dingy disc, which hasn't been cleaned, and it kind of like is a little wobbly as it goes up.
Yeah, we should really get that fixed.
Poor thing.
I'll ask somebody while I'm here. I'll ask somebody. Hey, there's like a clerk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are the disc that he just took off on, or the new death disc, what would it take to get that cleaned and fixed up?
Repairs. We could do quite a bit of different repairs, honestly. If you're looking for that thing, and he looks over for a second and says, "Is that one there?"
Yeah.
And just like to shake, he's like, "Ooh, honestly, you might be better getting an all new disc altogether, but probably shouldn't run you more than 10,000 gold to get it repaired, cleaned up, fixed up how you want it."
And the new disc would be.
Of that size? How big is your guys' disc? Is it like a 10-footer, 30-footer? Like how big is your disc?
I think
I
it was
don't
like
remember.
30-footer. I don't think it was just a 10-footer.
Yeah, I think
Was
it's a
it?
30-foot disc. Well, a 30-foot disc, buying a new one, fresh, would run you about 30,000 gold pieces.
What about used?
Well,
Do you have
you
any
could probably
2020 models with like 60,000 miles on them?
yes, but if you wanted something that's not dingy like that one is, probably you're gonna want something a bit more pizzazz, as it was. Like renting them's not that expensive. You can rent them for about 100 gold an hour.
I mean, yeah, we probably should have just run. I mean, yeah, okay, fine. But thank you for the info. I will make somebody else pay for it eventually. Grim's the one that ruined it, you know. It's not my fault.
I didn't ruin nothing.
Yeah.
Just brought it into the abyss. That's all.
If Orin just hadn't touched that crystal, it would be fine.
You
It's
told
all
him to do
Oren's
it.
fault.
The Grim definitely didn't tell him to do.
Yeah, by that, hey, you know what? Then by that, it's not my fault that Valhadrin died. It's your fault.
Definitely all Oren's fault. And no one else's.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you want to do with Nexus, or are you just gonna wait for him to come out?
I mean, is there shopping? Is there like what other than?
Mostly here, it's the embassies and research facilities,
Mhm.
and the council chambers,
Did
and multiple people going around on discs.
I feel like I got the answer to this, but I don't remember what it was. But Cleary checked in with the Magister, right, about my request to Mistra about sleepless children.
He
do
said
that?
he would ask about it.
I mean, I could go follow up on that with right now. There's
You certainly
the embassy. Okay. I'll go seek out Mistra's embassy.
Mister doesn't have an embassy, particularly.
The Magisters, then.
Okay, I mean, you could try talking to the people in the Magisters. His is a celestial plane. I believe his is Arborea.
Sounds right.
Arcadia. Sorry, his is Arcadia.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Arborea's Elias.
That's where you get the rice that you need.
Yeah.
Special rice.
That's why it sounded familiar.
Okay, so you head in there and you find yourself in a very, very comfy abode, looking out over like a beautiful skyline with like very large mountains and beautiful lush fields, and it's just like everything there is gorgeous and restful and larger than life. It looks like he's got some like really nice relaxing like living wicker chairs in like the lobby when you go in there, and it's all like open air. And you see there are several servants running around saying, "Welcome to the embassy. How may I help you?"
Hi, my name is Setimera, and I have talked to the Magister before about a couple of things, and I was following up on a query that I had put through him a little while ago.
Oh, very well. I will let him know that Setimera is here.
Thank you.
He heads off for a moment into like a side room that looks more like a regular building that's attached to this sort of landing platform, looking out onto this sort of beautiful saffron-colored sky. And very shortly, you see this old wizard comes walking towards you, and he's just kind of beaming, and he goes, "Hello there. It's been a little while.
Hi, good to see you again.
To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?"
Well, I was in the vicinity, and it occurred to me that I had some business to follow up on. I wasn't sure if Mistra had people here other than you.
Mistra. Oh, well, I have a bit of a sort of relationship with this, as it is. This is about that request you had made.
Yes, my purely academic interest.
Well, it hasn't been incredibly long since you put this information out for her to.
It feels like it's been years for me, but I have been in the cauldron a lot, so I've completely lost track of what's been happening
It
in
will.
real time.
I can commune with her for a moment, see if they've made any progress, if that is something that would put your heart at ease.
I'd be curious to know, but no pressure. I don't want to impose
Of
any
course.
more than I already have.
No worries. There's no pressure whatsoever.
Okay, great.
Give me but a moment. So he takes a moment. He sort of like goes off to a side room where he just sort of sits down. And you can just like see he pulls out a pipe and like starts smoking it for a minute. You've never seen him with a pipe before, but he just kind of like tips his hat down and just kind of like, you see that there's just like a little wave of energy that just sort of pulses off him for a moment. And he just kind of like whispers to himself in words that you can't understand. You can't even tell if they are words necessarily. And then you look and you see like his hat lifts up slightly and his eyes are glowing. And then he blinks and he looks at you and he says, gets up and starts heading your way and says, "Well, as they have begun looking around, it's hard to determine whether a sleepless child can be put to sleep without a sleepless child to attempt it upon. The delay in the process has been them locating one that is still alive."
Yes, I imagine he didn't let too many slip by him.
Most of them succumbed to insanity very quickly, and has led them to taking their own lives, or others trying to silence the madmen within their communities.
I see.
Though, knowing the man, and put it past him to get rid of a nuisance, if it were to become one.
That was my assumption, but it might have been ungenerous of me.
No worries, dear.
I suppose it is fairly obvious that I am looking for ways to fix what my progenitor has broken. It might only make one person's life easier or better, and it might not make anyone's life better, but I have to try. And so I was wondering if it was even possible. You see?
Yes, I completely understand your reasoning and why you would attempt to do this. As it is, however, without locating a test subject of sorts, you can only theorize about how best to do such a thing.
Yes.
In lieu of creating an
another one just to experiment upon, which to me seems wholly unethical.
Yes, definitely not what I had in mind.
If you can convince this sleepless child that you are attempting to, well, in lack of a better term, fix, to come and submit to a meeting with the individuals that could run a few of the more tenuous experiments on, I'm sure that you could find your answers quite quickly. For Mistra, there is no creation of spell, of course. She needs not do such thing. She can simply use the full force of the weave and attempt to mold the creature to sleep or to change its very nature. There are many ways to go about trying it that I'm sure that she could do in an instance. But I would hesitate to bring anyone you care about before Mistra.
It is a difficult situation, and alternatives might be less than humane anyway. But I don't know how much I can say without getting myself into some very hot water. Certainly it is something I will have to think about how to approach. But as a theory, as far as it goes, you think it could be done?
I believe that magic is capable of nearly anything. There are very few things that you cannot accomplish with it.
I am
The
inclined to agree.
only real problem is that the source of the problem is someone of such power that it might be beyond the purview of even the source of all magic in the universe to affect.
Right.
In your studying of the arcane, I'm sure you have come across the penultimate spell, the wish spell.
I have.
Even this spell, which taps into the very fabric of what Mistra is capable of, it's the behest of all spellcasters. They simply send out into the universe the will, and a deity who is capable of fulfilling such a thing would then attempt to do so. And those requests are often gone unanswered because there are certain things that just cannot be accomplished, that are beyond even the gods' purview.
That is sort of why I was trying to find out first if it would be potentially within the purview.
And my best bet in that situation, and the only way I could find to figure it out, find the individual, and in their presence, use such a spell. And use the behest of Mistra to get it done. If you will, a specific god to answer your call. Such things can be done.
Do you think if you have your pick of the litter, so to speak, Mistra is the one that would be asked?
If it is to be done with magic, then yes. If it is something you wish to be accomplished that magic cannot handle, I do not know.
Do you suppose a being such as, for example, Leo, would even be beholden to such a spell as wish.
I'm surprised you even know the name.
I know things.
The entity known as Eo, or Alpha and Omega, an overgod, usually only graces us with his presence in order to punish us.
Yes.
They wrote the very rules of godhood.
Right.
And when we are not abiding by those rules, and they have done so in the past, they take godhood away.
Yes.
These lead to times of chaos and the deaths of many, many mortals.
What you're saying
Best
is
not
don't
to
fuck with it.
best not to contact Eo for a
I just, as a thought experiment, if we're talking above Mistra's head, there's only so much beyond Mistra, beyond all magic in the universe. And I recognize that my dad is one of them.
Yes, but I imagine if he could fix his own mistake, he'd have done so.
Exactly. So I am thinking of the most supreme magical powers that have ever existed, or the most fundamental laws of physics and biology and nature. And of course, the two intersect at many points.
Of course, they truly do. I am uncertain myself what the best choice would be. But I would go with Mistra for the first try. If magic can't accomplish it,
That is an answer in and of itself, and it is certainly worth a try, regardless if the stakes are, well, with the stakes as high as they are.
in lieu of that, there's something of a hierarchy among gods. The greater the god is, usually comes to the purview of what they've created and how many worship them. So whereas primordially your father is very powerful, he does not have worshippers, so to speak. He's not a
Yes.
god in that sense. He is just a force that has its own power. Among those that are gods of an entire species, tend to have vast amounts of reserves of power. For instance, Ord
Yeah, that makes sense.
has a vast amount of power. Mistra has a vast amount of power as well, but wizards aren't much for the way of worship. More a respect, though she does have her own orders that give her a fair bit of power in its own right.
It is, I always thought of my own magic practice as the music connects me with the biology and the but then studying with Cleary, I have come to appreciate the academics and the allure of the pages and the history and the tradition, and I think that is in a way its own worship, although perhaps not the same as being at the altar of with an idol and a bunch of clerics chanting.
Indeed.
But if it would help Mistra, I'm sure we could get some wizards to stand around chanting.
Oh, that's perfectly all right. I'm sure she's got plenty of worshippers, and the scale at which it would increase her divinity would require quite a bit of evangelism.
I mean, I'm a bard.
Evangelism.
I'm fully capable of starting a cult if I need to repay a favor or anything, you know.
But I
Just
believe
let
as
me
an
know.
aspirant, your time is better served. Not aspirant, a champion. Your time is better served,
Yes, I'm stalling.
accomplishing things in the interest of the council and of Selindor and the people within it.
And on that note, I suppose I should get back to business. But
Indeed.
I really appreciate your time. I enjoyed speaking with you.
Oh yes, it was very good conversation.
Okay.
I'm see what Cleary sees in you.
Well, thank you. I think. Don't get any
Don't worry.
ideas, though. I'm taken.
Oh no, no, I don't have any form of romantic interest in a child. That's that's quite sorted.
It was joke.
Well, best of luck to you. I
Thank
wish
you.
you good luck in your journeys, especially with the terrors you ought to face very soon.
Yeah, you wouldn't happen to know anything about what's going on in there, would you? I mean, just between us, because I know there's official like business happening and stuff, but like.
It is overrun, the specifics. I'm sure your significant other is receiving as we speak. And I'm sure he will make them.
All right, I can wait until he tells me. I'm not impatient at all. Thank you.
I have an afternoon nap ahead of me.
Enjoy your nap.
Well, thank you very much. He sort of just wanders off, takes a deep breath, sort of just like looking out over the sky, and then walks into his office.
I go wait
Some
for
time
Cleary.
passes, and then Cleary finally comes back, and he's got some papers under his arms. And he's like, "Oh, hope you didn't have to wait long. As it is, I have our orders and a lot of information to go over. So, back to the cauldron with us?
All right.
Good. Maybe a spot of lunch on our way back?
Ooh, we could stop at the nudes place.
Certainly.
Nice.
Well, while you guys are doing that, what's everybody doing in the cauldron during this time? You've got about a month of time before they're back.
Well, I had planned on farming some aquam and doing some gambling to get some money because I'm broke.
Cool.
Cropsy will be assisting Orin. However she can.
I got a number of things, but I'm currently stuffing my face full of beans.
Oh shit, beans.
Oh, don't forget you guys have the deck of many more things as well. I just remembered that.
Yeah, but they don't let me just draw
Yeah.
things from it whenever I want, so.
I'm just
I think
saying.
Can't we
somebody
like
else's already.
instantly die if we fuck around with it?
Sure can.
We also have a wish. It's fine.
I think
I
SETI has
forgot
that.
we had that deck. Does SETI have the deck?
God, Cynthia is it.
Pretty sure it's in her special bag.
Yeah.
Can't be, scryed upon.
Let's
and
save
stuff.
that for a together thing.
I mean, we can't do anything if SETI has it. She's not even here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying only fuck with it if the whole gang's together. But if something goes
So
down.
I'll say that if you spend like the first week farming aquam to get like a sort of cache going of as much aquam as you can get, depending on what methods you want to use, kind of will
It's gonna
determine.
use my fancy net thing again.
Okay, so I'm not exactly sure what we were rolling for that, but so I'm just gonna say to make it easier, let's do 5d10.
Yeah, we didn't write down what that did before.
Nah, it's all right. It's just we go so long between sessions where we do this kind of stuff that these mechanics get lost in the shuffle. So
Oh, we got 30.
okay, so you end up getting 3,000 aquam during this week of farming.
Okay.
Woo.
And I assume I can use aquam as a currency at the casino.
Correct, you can.
Nice. try my luck. Like Grim was making bank out of this place.
And yet they didn't murder him.
You have to have some success stories, otherwise no one will come play.
I think they put a cap, but the cap has gone up to 500. Is as much as you can buy in chips.
Reasonable. So that'd be 500 Aquam.
Yeah, it's one Aquam is one token. So 500 Aquam.
Okay, I'll take that.
Get you 500 tokens. And it's up to you how you want to try to do any of that stuff. You can just do rollies if you want.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Is that for each of us or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could all do it.
Yeah, I can give you 500 as well.
What else is
500 would
Roxy gonna do?
give everybody what they want. You just sit there rolling, and then if you're doing rollies, it's against me. So
Mm-hmm.
you roll a d20, I roll a d20, and you tell me how much you're betting.
What is the bet increments?
Whatever you put down.
Um. Well, I don't want to be here all day, so let's do this. I'll do 50 at a time. It's just a d20, right?
Yep, just d20, just straight up.
Okay. I got a 4.
Okay, well, you lose 50.
Next one. Nat 20.
Well, you get 50 back.
Now
So
I'm even.
you're even.
And then an 8.
You lose.
And a 12.
You lose.
And an 8.
You lose.
And a
You
15.
probably shouldn't gamble.
15 split. You get your money back.
Okay.
He also rolled a 15.
7.
You win.
Oh, nice. 2.
Be here all day doing this.
Yeah, that's a loss.
7.
17.
We didn't hear you for the 17, I don't think.
Oh, I rolled a 4.
Okay. Well, I'm at 400. I'm still down 100.
Guess I should eat the rest of these beans while he's still rolling.
Kind of the thing about rollies, man.
Is there any other way to do this where I'm not taking up everybody's time?
You can roll by yourself and just roll 2d20 and then just determine it. And I won't roll at all. The first 20 rolled is yours. The second one rolled 20 rolled is mine, and
Do it on the honor system.
do it on the honor system.
Yeah, I mean there'll be a record
Yes,
of it. In D&D, but
20,000.
Yep. While he's doing that and trying to gamble some money, what would you guys like to do?
Well, Grim is gonna go to the little barter market, try and find
Okay.
himself a better shield. Can try and look. You're gonna go looking for some shields.
Let me look and see what shields. Because they'd have new stock at this point. But I want to find out. Dude, crap. Yep. D&D Beyond is so slow sometimes.
How many cards have we pulled from the deck of many more things? 3?
I think we've pulled
I
2.
think you pulled
So I know Grim pulled one,
one.
and I pulled one.
Which one did you pull?
Silver something. I got a charisma out of it.
That's
Did I
right.
not
I
cross
pulled
it
the
out?
ship.
Those are
You
the
pulled
only
the
two I
ship.
remember.
Let me cross strike through. Apparently I didn't strike these through. I forget how to do strike through.
In the same like class as bold and italics. It might just be like you might have to go into the font setting.
Babe, you know how to do strike through, right?
What app are you? Are you on Google Doc?
Yeah.
Usually it's just in the toolbar.
You might have to right click font to open up more options.
Yeah, I don't have it. The ability to strike through. I don't know. I think there's like a command for it, but
Be like under format text.
Could just make the text gray in the meantime.
Alt Shift 5.
Hmm.
Well, there we go. Now we all know how to shortcut that.
No implies the ability to retain that information.
Alt Shift 5.
The quiz will be next week.
Wow, way to flex your memory on it.
Please study your notes for next week's test.
Okay, and so
What test?
I don't remember which one yours was either.
I think it was like drinking something, and it was charisma. I got charisma out of it.
Tavern. It was Tavern. That one is struck through.
Okay.
That's the only two I've got struck off then. Because I didn't even strike off the ship.
Because then we also, it wasn't a full deck, it was a smaller deck.
Mhm.
Nope. I have the deck that is your deck.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
It has 42 cards in it.
Right.
But I didn't strike off ship, so there's 40 cards left in the deck.
Well, I mean, Seti's not around to stop us if we're just hanging out one night.
No.
I'm just throwing that out there. You have a month and Seti's not around to stop you.
Propsy's there to stop you. The literal mom of the group is there to smack it out of your hand.
But she went to
But-
the casino
Oh.
with Orin.
Yeah.
Did you leave it
Have we
where
determined who
we
has
get
it?
it while we're gone?
I was the last one to use it. I don't know if that means I have it or if we just have it collectively amongst
There's
us. Like,
no way we left it. in
All
your
right,
possession.
here's what
I
we're
don't
gonna
think we
do.
would have let Mitnir hang on to it. But
Here's
I
what
don't
we're
think
gonna
I
do.
I
have
wouldn't
it.
have
We're
left it
gonna-
with Grim either.
We're gonna roll a d6,
Oh my god.
and whatever number it is, on a 1, Seti has it. On a 2, Bropsy has it. On a 3, Mitnir has it. On a 4, Grim has it. On a 5, Orin has it. On a 6, Cleary has the deck.
Why did you win it?
So somebody roll a d6, and that'll just determine where it is.
God.
There's
Last
chunks.
I remember talking about it.
a
Mitnir was
five.
losing his mind wanting to
That
draw
means
more.
Orin has it.
Orin.
Orin has the deck.
Uh-huh. And Orin is gonna be a good boy.
And I'm gambling right now.
Yeah, but you
Uh-huh.
don't gamble 24 hours a day.
You do,
5 is the
you do
wild
the
card
gambling
option.
addiction, not the get everybody
Orin,
killed
Orin.
one.
If you really want to gamble, there's a chance we could get more good stuff out of that deck.
I mean, you're not at the casino, are you?
No,
We can't
but
really have this conversation.
not right now. When you leave, we have a month.
So as you guys spend a
Orin,
month
give me the deck.
gambling in the casino,
Well, I'm bartering, and then I'm gonna do other stuff.
Okay, right. So shields. Okay.
Oh, she changed
Oh
the
wow.
music
1,
on us.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
She's a DJ.
That was the wrong vibe, Gideon.
Roll a d20 for me.
DJ's always put on the wrong button.
11. And I may mute intermittently because James is hollering.
It's broke even twice in a row.
Muting.
Okay, so roll it again. I'm going to get 3 shield options that you're going to find here.
And a 3. And a 16.
Okay. There are 3 shields that are available for trade, sale, and one of them is only available if you do what's the thing? In gambling. It is one that that has been put in the list of prizes for gambling. And that is the Shield of Blazing Dreadnought. For trading or or purchasing something of equal value or a price tag of 25,000 gold is the Shield of Uven Rune. And regular trade, you can get a boomerang shield, which you can get for that one's probably on here. No, it's not on here, but for about 600 gold pieces.
Hi.
So there you have your prices.
Sorry, I still have to be muted.
How long is Orin spending in the casino, and should Bropsy continue aquam farming while you're in there?
Thought you were gambling too.
No, I saw you do like 2 rolls, and I was like, no, change mine.
What was the third one? You said like a shield of boomerang or something?
Yep.
A boomerang shield. Okay. All right.
Boomerang shield.
Gotcha. Of course, all 3 of these are ones without armor class bonuses. That's a bummer.
I just won with a 2.
If you were looking for specifically for like a plus to a shield,
Yeah.
make me an investigation check.
Okay.
These are the ones that are like on display, where people are like, "Oh, there's a real cool shield you can get."
Let me see. Because I don't need a big bulky thing like that Dreadnought one, as cool as it is. How do I? Where's my? There we go. Scroll all the way down to the bottom here and roll. Come on, investigation. That thing I'm not good at all. It's a 13, which is a decent roll for me.
With a 13, you only find a place that's selling a +1 shield.
+1 shield? Nah, that's probably not good enough. Oh. Well, I guess we're just gonna... I'm gonna find a place to sell the stuff I don't need, and we're just gonna use that money to gamble. So, I'm gonna go
All
sell
right.
my Blood Rage Great Axe and my
What are the rarities of these?
So one's green. The Blood Rage Great Axe is green, and then I have the purple anti-magic armor, the blue Feyrot armor, and the blue Shrieking Graves.
So yeah, if you wanna sell it, just go ahead and make a persuasion check for me.
Come see Grimm's amazing wares at the natural 20
A natural 20 for what?
for persuasion.
What's the number?
A 21.
21. Okay. So for the Shrieking Greaves, you could get 2,500 gold pieces.
Okay.
For the Feyrot armor, is that one also rare?
Yeah.
4,500 gold pieces.
Okay.
The Great Axe, you could get 500 gold piece.
Okay. And then the anti-magic armor?
What's the rarity?
Very rare.
Very rare. Yeah, so this one, there's no like set price for it because this is from added content. So go ahead and roll me a D10.
It's a 9.
Wow. So somebody's willing to give you 45,000 gold pieces for it.
Well, okay, sold.
What?
Wow, that's better than my signed instrument.
Sold. So I guess he's selling all that for a total of 52,500.
Look, I'm looking at the rating for prices of very rare items. It's between 5,000 and 50,000 gold pieces. I had him roll for a multiplier of 5,000, the maximum of which would give him to 50,000. He rolled a 9, so that's 45,000.
That checks out, but it's bonkers.
Well, I'm all out of chips.
Oh no!
Did you lose everything?
I lost my 500.
Well, Grimm's got a lot of money now.
Like I said, Grimm's been making bank.
Grim just apparently is a master salesman.
But
one guy was
he's
very
definitely
sold.
going to give that to you in platinum. He does not have 50,000
yeah.
gold pieces.
Yeah,
laying
let
around.
me or yeah, maybe even in Aqua or something. I guess I don't know.
Well, Aquam's here in the cauldron is worth
it's less valuable.
gold.
Yeah,
It's worth 1
that's
gold
true.
now. It's so abundant. So it's he might give you like platinum bars, like.
So 5250 plat. Alrighty. Cool. So that's that. Well, we got a lot of money to go buy something somewhere else then. go buy a +3 shield somewhere. Probably doesn't sell it here, but go buy it at Egelman's or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll for the value of a +5 shield or +2. Actually, okay, I have a price for a +3 shield if you want to buy one.
What's the price of a +3 shield?
30,000 gold.
I can buy that. Yeah. Where is it? Is it here, or do I have to go somewhere else? There's mosquito or something.
Yeah, and also make a persuasion check
Okay, persuasion check.
because your price could go up or down.
Nope, that's a natural one.
Okay, so it's actually there. It's actually going to be 40,000 gold pieces.
Well, Grim did not deserve the 45,000 that he just got, so Grim doesn't know that 40,000 is a bad, whether it's a bad price or not. So, yeah, I mean, if Grim can buy it for 40,000, he's like, oh yeah, 40,000, let's go.
The guy's like, "What? Yep, very well. Here's your +3 shield. Incredible. So good to be business with you. I'm really taking a loss here, but I'll tell you what. You're such a good customer. I'm just gonna go ahead and put you on our platinum members. Gives you 10% off your next purchase.
Oh wow, what else you got that's 10% off?
That's a very good question. Remember when we were set up? We're totally done, right?
Yes, but then you gave people the option to play Shopping Simulator.
You gave me a 10%
That's
discount. Now I
very
gotta
fun.
know what he's got.
It's fine.
Grim will be like, can I interest you in this very nice box that totally isn't cursed?
Do we have healing potions to distribute or anything?
Oh, yeah, I think she gave us 4 each, right?
I put it in chat. I think everyone got.
Let's go ahead and do for
No,
his
no.
best item table. This guy would have other than his. Go ahead and roll D100.
A 9.
He says, I also have this +3 greatsword.
Do I look like I use a greatsword?
You're right. Sorry, you got the +3 shield. I thought, granted, you can even use +3 longsword. Actually, is what it was. It wasn't even a greatsword. It was a longsword. It's just
Look, I have this
great. I called
wand.
it a
Look at this.
greatsword. It's just.
I have this wand. This is what I use. Look how nice it is. Ooh.
Oh yes.
I'm not going to
I
use
was just using this random table of expensive items that I have.
But thank you for the shield. It's very nice.
Of course.
Worth every platinum. I'm sure it will protect Grim mightily.
Indeed.
Okay. Have fun selling your stuff.
He's like, wait! I have a wand. I have a wand.
Oh no, it's not going to be better than this one.
He's like on his seal, like communicating with somebody else. He's like, never mind. I don't need you to get the wand for me. Like trying to make deals with other vendors so that he can get it and sell it to you. But with that, I guess you should be all set. He doesn't really have anything that you're gonna want.
Yeah. Ooh, this means I have an attunement slot open.
Anyways, so how do you guys do it? Anybody want to do anything in the cauldron before they come back?
So I'm gonna go kill. I mean, are there still things to kill on the island? That was my next plan after I shopped.
The island is pretty safe.
Darn. There's no any lingering zombies or anything.
There's no lingering zombies or any of that. Those have been cleared out a long time ago now. Years ago.
Is there a hospital?
There is not a hospital so much as there is a central place for where you can go visit clerics.
Is there
there's different religious groups have started, and there's lots of clerics about and healers and different things like that. Within the Gap, there's plenty of shopping districts, and all around the island, different monuments have gone up to various gods.
Is there a place where people might be dying?
Oh, so you're just gonna... Okay. The thing about the cauldron is that people don't age at the rate at which time flows in the cauldron. They age.
No, I
at the
meant
rate at
I
which
didn't mean
time
natural
flows.
deaths.
So natural deaths don't happen very often here.
Mm-hmm.
About as significantly less often than they would outside, by about 30 times less often than they would on the outside for natural deaths. Other forms of death, it kind of
the shark
depends.
people might fight other people, and there might be bar fights there, right?
Oh, I'm certain there's bar fights and the like.
They might
But
get
you
kind of
did
nasty.
create something of a small military force here
That's true.
that now polices the island and keeps people from, doing unsavory things now that the population has increased within the lock. So in general, it's a pretty safe place to live. One of the safest places to live probably within Selindor at all.
That's true. Yeah. Damn it, Mitnir. Just had to go and create a peacekeeping force. Oh, well. But then Grim's just gonna wander around and just kind of like look at people's souls. See if it can like tell any difference in them and just kind of like soul watch, I guess.
Yeah.
Look for differences, like see, science. He's gonna like study different souls and just kind of like people watch, but like soul watch.
I mean, you can basically just kind of guess, the
Yeah,
potency of one soul while it's still in their body.
yeah. He's just gonna like kind of like look because he's not never looked at people's souls before, so he's gonna kind of just like, all right, okay, yeah, these are what different souls look like. Kind of like judge like looking at them like which ones are like more powerful and which ones
Mhm.
like this one's like a little kid soul, like obviously, like this one's like
Very pure and
Yeah.
small, and
they're just gonna like, I don't know, look at the souls. Because the original plan was maybe to go around and like gather some, but if there's none to gather, then he'll at least examine them. So
yeah. Well, you'll have plenty of opportunities coming up.
oh, and he can go feed Nephronon at the amusement park, son.
Yeah, go to the amusement park. There's definitely talk of Grim at the amusement park. Well,
Go feed off the fear some
scaring.
more.
Yeah, just enjoying the fear of all the children. Anyways, after what's
Roxy
up?
was trying to farm more aquam whilst Beelan was losing his aquam.
Okay, how are you doing that?
Is she capable of using his net?
Sure.
I just do that.
Okay, so just roll a 5d10. Say you spent an additional week working on that.
Whoop. 24.
So yeah, you get 2,400 aqua.
Cool. There you go, Beelan. Mix up. Right?
I mean, I only lost 500.
As it is. Unless anybody has anything new they'd like to say that they were doing during this time. I'll say that Cleary and Seti come back in to the cauldron. They send a message via the rings so that you all know that it's time to meet back up. And as you all collapse back into the mansion, which I guess you haven't been staying in for, probably left it
You
in there
got
for
a
you.
whole month without the mansion.
Just been
I don't know.
hanging around,
Just
sleeping
hanging
in the
around.
butthole.
Sleeping in the butthole. You guys are rich enough to be able to afford lodgings throughout this place. It's not incredibly expensive to do so.
And he's like, oh no, I left my sword in my bedroom.
But they do arrive back in the cauldron, call a meeting, and as you are all headed to meet at the mansion, we're going to go ahead and take our break. So we'll be back in about 5 minutes. We did a whole bunch of nonsense. We didn't get any of the stuff I thought we'd get done at this point. But
As usual.
as usual, we'll be back in a few minutes. And we're back. So, as you all meet around the dinner table in the cauldron, but further in the magnificent mansion, which I'm assuming you're creating. Seti?
Sure, yes.
Yeah. Clearly sits everybody down and begins laying out papers. Says, "So, we have a lot to go over. I hope everybody's prepared. And I apologize in advance for how poorly drawn this map is. Apparently, it was created by Old Man Shu. And Old Man Shu, though a very good gardener, is not a very good artist. That said,
Well, whatever gets it done.
everybody roll 20. I am moving you to the map so you can plan what you're going to do. Here's a rough map of the cauldron. You may have to zoom way in.
Well, it's there's water and stuff, and what's the? Okay, yep.
Right. So you could remember the general layout of the cauldron. I've marked P and S, where the Cauldron of Strife and Cauldron of Purity connect to this cauldron, respectively. And then there are each of the different areas that we're all aware of. This purple spot that I have marked here on the map is our suspected location of the rift, as whenever we were in there, we came across the strange entity, the emissary of the black goat, we believe was within the tundra region. Not tundra, the taiga. So, as you can see, not the easiest place to access from where we are able to enter.
Yeah.
With
So-
that in mind, I do have information about the battalions we are being granted. We're being granted 3 battalions: the Unseen Battalion, the Iron Battalion, and the Cog and Sky Battalion. Whenever you're ready to take notes, I can go ahead and give you the specifics of each of these.
Just finding the right spot in my document. Okay, yes. Our battalions are... Say them again?
The Unseen Battalion, we'll start with this one. They have 3 different parts within this battalion. There's the Unseen Rat, the Unseen Cat, and the Unseen Viper. The Rats, about 100 units specializing in subterfuge and able to blend in wherever it is that they go. They're sort of your general stealth reconnaissance group.
Uh-huh.
We have the Unseen Cat that can also be used for scouts if necessary, but more importantly, very good for stealth and assassination. So if we need to take out any high-profile targets or anything of the like, this would be a good group to use that for, about 150 units. Composed mainly of vampires, shirakai, and morphing individuals such as werewolves, werebears, shifters, the like.
Okay.
We also have the Unseen Viper, 250 units, composed mostly of a back camp of alchemists, which can be used to create potions and poisons at the net as we find necessary. So we can put them to work pretty much as soon as you like. We can have them begin moving this battalion. They are ready to depart whenever we say we are ready for them. Part of this is a 50 of the Unseen Viper working under 1 necromancer, are creatures that have been worked on and created by an individual member of the Spectra that have been loaned to the battalion. They are basically walking pandemic zombies. I'm not sure exactly what Torzak put within them, but I've been informed that anyone who ingests even the tiniest amount of their blood, if they are a living creature whatsoever, should die. They are sort of a sacrificial lambs for the slaughter that can be used to take out or poison a water supply or kill a large number of large creatures that try to devour them. We just have to sort of figure out how many that is. But that is in general,
the Unseen Battalion.
Okay.
The Iron Battalion is led by a Warhammer from the realms. It goes by the name of Staros Avenfall. Typically acting in the interest of Commoner and Dawn's Cradle. They have about 200 infantry units, 100 shield units, 30 of which are giants, 150 armored cavalry, and 20 long-range siege weapons. These people are built for full-force contact, full-on siege warfare, and the like.
Okie dokie.
And then the Cog and Sky Battalion, there's no real commander for any of these. They're just sort of different groups, but this is an important one. Primus has promised us 5,000 Mojan power. What that means is that it's the equivalent of 5,000 of his Modrons split upon how they are hierarchically rated. And so if we build our forces that he's offering us properly, we could have a pretty powerful force. I will go ahead and give you what we are offered. The number we can reach is 5,000. Oops, my keyboard is way over here. And these are their relative values. If you would like, you can look up these creatures. I give you permission to look up these creatures to get an idea of their fighting potential. The most important thing to note is that when a Modron dies, they will typically, one of a lower station will be promoted to replace them.
Right.
But only if there's a number Modron available. Right. Moving on. Within this, there's a Golem unit. 5 Warforged Titans are going to command 3 Stone Golems and 1 Sapphire Golem each. I actually made these golems. They have my stamp of approval. There's also an airship unit. We have 5 airships that we are given that are capable of carrying 100 units on each one. And a golem would count as about 20 units. So we could put about 5 golems on any one airship, if that's what we want to use these for. Keep in mind, as I noted to the council, the storms within the Cauldron of Life might make it difficult for them to traverse unilaterally as airships unless we find some way to get around that. There's then the Airborne Legion, which is 200 flying combatants. This is mainly made out of Aarakocra and other flying species that have given their aid to this fighting venture. And then we are being granted 3 of the Ebony Barracks' war machines. We are being granted the Behemoth, the Urchin, and the Sky Piercer. The Behemoth is a large automaton that is going to have about 10 onboard artificers. It is armed with Aquam turrets and very large flails, in a sense, that spin around, throwing giant spiked wrecking balls. The Urchin is a spherical land and water capable machine. It has gas-powered harpoons and explosives. The Sky Piercer is an enormous ballista, and its arrows are said to have felled dragons. This is the entirety of the forces that we've been granted, and how they are being used is up to us, granted by the approval of the leaders of each individual group. If we give them bad orders, they may not follow them. As much as the council has authority over each of these different groups does not mean that they're going to listen to every little thing that we tell them to do. So that is important.
Well, that's
So
yeah. I mean, this kind of level of strategy is a bit outside our wheelhouse, I think. But
indeed,
what we really need to know is what we're dealing with on the inside, which could be very difficult to find out.
indeed. If you're all ready, then we can request that the leader of the Unseen Battalion, Adaron, make his way to the cauldron with his battalion, and we can meet with them and discuss the areas we would like them to scout out.
Yes, I suppose so.
And begin getting as much intel as possible within the cauldron.
Do we think there's any point on trying to scry on the cauldron?
Well, we can attempt to scry on the cauldron. Technically, each individual cauldron is its own pocket dimension. I'm not entirely sure how scrying usually works, but I thought you had to be on the same plane.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if it maybe counted that it was close enough.
It's hard to say. I think specifically because it was sealed, a seal which we will have to open in order to begin this.
Right.
Whereas we have set up Occam turrets facing each of the different bridges that lead between the two. The ice that encapsulates and separates the cauldron of purity for everything else. I believe be very difficult to make it through. But once we open it and get inside, we should be able to scry whatever we want, assuming that we have either a piece of it or are familiar enough with it to scry there. You've all been to several of these locations, so whereas you can scry a specific location, we may not get the exact intel we want.
I think the only scrying we have access to anyway is a crystal ball that requires attunement, so it won't be that useful in the middle of things. More of a while we're resting and gathering information sort of trick.
Yes. Does anybody have any questions?
How about ideas?
It should be noted we should give a report on our clog brigade, how we wish for them to be made up, sooner rather than later.
I don't really understand the Modrin super well.
I'm just reading up what they all do.
Happy to leave that to Oren's best judgment.
So
He is part
five-
Modron, in a sense, so I'm comfortable leaving that up to you as well.
5,000 monodrone.
We could certainly do it. I'm not entirely certain how many monodromes there are at any one time. That could be an actual Mart of the monodromes, which happens once every few hundred years, as far as I've heard. Never suspected that it would be used for anything like this, but well, there we are.
Well, unless you have an entrance that's like big enough to accommodate them, you could just be like sending them all to their death very slowly. That would probably not necessarily work so well.
It wouldn't be slow; they would die so fast.
Yeah.
The creatures within this
health.
the creatures within this cauldron we know to be strong.
Yes.
When we were there, they were very powerful creatures as well as very weak creatures. but they've all changed. Initial reports from the scouting that we've managed has shown that there is no longer any notable creature on the surface areas where we can see, namely within the oceans, that is as they were.
I mean, do we think we don't? I mean, we don't really even know. Like the last fight we did, there was like a core eye thingy under the water, and that seemed to be most effective at targeting that single thing. But this one could be like in 1,000 different pieces, and each piece needs to be destroyed, or like it could be anywhere, or it could be, So, what do we think? All these forces go in and distract it and fight off things and try to keep it busy without getting taken and turned into the bad things that we then have to also fight off. While we gun for the core or the eye or whatever we can find.
I mean, I think at the heart of this plan, us acting as an elite strike force heading to close the rift is the plan. But what we do with these battalions is how we're going to get there alive.
Right.
But more importantly, I think we should keep them alive as much as possible.
Well, sure, and obviously we want them to not die because dying is bad, but also we don't want them to get, taken over by the bad thing and then become bad themselves. So, how do we do that best?
That's sort of what we need to find out.
What if we get a bunch of clerics that all cast Sanctuary, and so everybody's running around in a little bit of a globule, just, look at me, I'm over here, oh, you can't hit me, but causing a big chaotic distraction.
A big, chaotic distraction. And where would you like to stage this big distraction?
I don't know. Look, I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall. I didn't say it was good spaghetti.
No, I'm asking where we would want it. Clearly, unless something has changed, the rift, as far as we're aware, is within the tiger biome,
Yes.
which is on the other side of the cauldron.
Right.
From either entrance, more or less. Technically, if we entered through the strife side, we would be a modicum closer. But getting a timed strike from both sides, if we were launching from the purity side and from the strife side, would be very difficult to do, as the times are
Sort of opposite.
staggered. No, as far as I'm aware, Glass has changed the time flow in the Cauldron of Strife to be 1-to-1 with the outside.
Right. Well, I mean, that is certainly an option, but so roughly how long, if we assume that we're on foot, how long from point A to B? Just as the crow flies.
Well, if we were to look at this map, generally speaking, let me get a grid thrown on it. Size would be wrong.
It is only 40 foot across. Very, very small. Easy. We can make it there in 6 seconds, guys.
Right, there we are. Each of those blocks would represent a mile.
So
Let's see.
So
mile.
roughly like 10 miles to the center and another 10 miles out to the opposite side.
At
If you're going in
300
a straight
foot.
Marching? On foot?
No, we would not travel by foot, would we?
No.
Well, some of our military are only capable of traveling with whatever we can do. We can certainly put them on boats and sail their way in.
No, we would have different goals, right? We would need certain the what you call them, the battalions would mostly be a distraction for the minions of the,
Correct.
and we would go for the main thing itself, yes, which would probably be close to the rift, we would hope.
Now, I have put this on this map specifically so you could write and draw whatever you might think. So just, freehand or what have you. But we should note, and I'm going to put mine here in light blue so that you all know it's me. This area, we can assume on all 4 sectors, and this is based on what we experienced in the Cauldron prior, will be teeming with flying creatures.
Mm.
Where did we leave the? We left before via my poor staff that I left in the ground that turned into a tree.
Yes.
There was a forest.
That would be the tiger,
Yes.
where we ran
That's-
into the creature.
So that's where we're heading.
It is, in fact, where we are heading.
We could also not head straight there and go above it and jump down to the taiga.
Is the tiger not the
With
top
Featherfall?
level?
The tiger is lower. There. Let me mark the leveling for you.
Oh,
The highest level would be the
The cradle?
the cradle is at
I
the
thought this
highest
was the
point
tiger.
within. That is an Arctic Ocean zone.
This is the tiger there?
I
Or
believe
this
this
up
is saltwater cold. This is freshwater cold over here. And we have
Tiger.
freshwater warm
Ping the
and
tiger.
saltwater warm. The tiger is here, where the pink
Oh,
thing
okay.
is. Now, if we entered from the Cauldron of Purity, that would be 100 miles. Not it says 100
20
feet.
miles.
20 miles. Actually, the Cauldron was bigger than that. I'm going to say that's 100 miles. I'm going to say feet is miles. So
It's a
be
pretty big
100.
cauldron.
It's a pretty big cauldron. So it'll be about 100 miles to get to our destination.
That's a long way to go.
It took us days of travel to get there when we did it before.
Let us see.
Unless Orin can open another door into the portal or into the cauldron.
Do you have travel via plants?
That is an option. Plane shift is an option, perhaps, if we had a tuning to it, but I don't think we do. Once we're in there.
Plane shift can only do so many people, though.
Well, yes, but I'm thinking about getting us directly to where we're going as quickly as possible so that fewer people die on the days long journey it would otherwise be. I mean, once we're in, if we need to hoof it, then perhaps Grim can turn us into gas and we can go very quickly as gas.
Transport via plants would technically work once we were in there.
You're familiar with at least one tree. We simply need to get to a tree to do it.
This is true.
Thing is that the closest trees that we'd be able to find would be in the savannah.
Which is where?
Which,
Well, that's not too bad. You just drop down from where we're coming at.
yes,
And then teleport over there.
That's not a bad option.
It's the best one I've heard
that would
so
certainly
far.
get us there as fast as possible. The downside is if something does notice we are there, finds out we are there, either the savannah or the tiger, how quickly will we be converged upon? And if we are completely separated, how quick from the rest of our forces, how quickly would we be collapsed upon by more than we can handle?
It would not be fun to be the first one out of the tree into the taiga. It would probably not be fun to be the second or third either, but...
I'm pretty sure we would have to have our forces initiate before we teleport over as a distraction.
And I'll go
This
through
is
the
true.
portal first. That's not a problem.
We need the adequate distraction before we go through. Need
Yeah.
to draw their eye.
As much as we can, we need to give these different battalions a good place to fight. A place where they can fight well, hold off for a long time, and sustain themselves, and draw as much attention away from us, doing our job as possible.
I think what we really need is information. We need scouts.
Well, then we should get the scouts here as soon as possible. I can send word right this moment.
Do it.
We
They
should
should
find
arrive by at least by next month.
The best
We
place
should-
to hold off the most would probably be at the center.
Well, you should pick biomes that are
Problem is footing at the center.
advantageous to the battalions that we have. Your
least
unseen
with the-
battalion.
Modrons, they'll fly.
Your unseen battalion is probably going to be best at, I would think, guerrilla warfare in trees. Given their tactics. Right? I mean,
In theory, yes.
There
So
weren't
you'll-
very many trees left when we left after the stuff touched them. They were all corrupted.
that's true, but you know, there might be some in the further reaches, right, that are not.
It's been
When-
years.
Actually, the Cauldron of Life does not move at an accelerated rate to the outside. It has been months.
It was
Which is
attacking the
still
center
bad,
within
but-
like a day.
Oh yes, no, this place is entirely overrun, for certain. But I will say it hasn't had years to completely develop. We're not sure how much how many of the trees, for instance, they've
Right.
changed.
Well, whether or not the trees are like alive or not, I mean that they would have things to, hide behind and things like that. Places with things for them to duck behind and
And it is
climb in.
possible that the tree that you left there initially may no longer be there anymore.
This is true.
Which could
It-
turn our entire plan into nothing very quickly.
And then we could fly instead. How far could you fly? Oh, let me do the math. Oh, 8 hours and blah, 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 blah. Let's
Well,
see.
I think I've come up with the Modron battalion, potentially.
Has everybody
the points
looked
at
over
least.
that?
4,800 rounds times 300 feet divided by 5,280. You could travel 272 miles at normal flight movement on one Windwalk spell.
So Windwalk could get us there easily in one spell.
Half a spell. So that's an option. Obviously, the
Yeah.
quick option is transport via plants, but it is a question of whether or not there's something smart enough, or with the capabilities of hurting us while we are in that form when we're flying. Now,
hard to
hitting
say.
a target moving 300 feet, well, 50 feet per second. 50 feet per second is very, very fast.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty hard target to hit.
But once we arrive and become corporeal, that's when the real trouble begins.
Yes, we would have to
So,
become corporeal somewhere.
so perhaps
More
what we could
safe.
do is plan on dropping into the savannah. There's a waterfall that dips from each ocean and pours into its respective section. Waterfalls at each drop point, creating a pool and providing water to the levels below. So if we dropped in from any of those, we could simply drop off down into this waterbed or fly our way down into this zone with any of our normal transformation means, find a tree, attempt to see if we can just immediately transport via plants, and if it's not there, then we can windwalk. Or we could just say fuck it and just windwalk from the beginning.
Yeah.
Seti, can you try sending a message to Cecil?
Oh gosh. I
Last we saw him, he was in that
yeah,
cauldron.
yep. I'll try.
A message to who?
Cecil, our Kraken friend.
I think he got
Oh,
fucked, but I'll
He
try.
was in. He was last we saw him. I think he saved us in the
Well, message
Cauldron of
doesn't
Life.
work across planes either, but I would have to try while asleep to do
Oh,
Dream
okay.
of the Blue Veil.
Yeah.
Which could invite some nasty things if I go seeking out the eldritch horrors, but
yes, it's sort of like astral projection, your Dream of Blue Veil, correct?
yes, I'm a little bit more vulnerable than if I am just sending a message.
Seeing
Sending
as
does
there's...
work across planes. There's just a 5% chance it fails.
Oh,
We could certainly try.
all right. Well, I'll try sending Cecil a message.
Okay. Message.
Cecil, you there? We hope you're okay. If so, tell us what's going on. We're worried about you. That's it.
Okay. Roll a D100. Or D20. Just D20 is fine.
D20.
On a natural one, it doesn't work.
10.
Okay. Send a message. Hello. I don't know what this is. It is strange. The tentacles above are bad. Everything is dark. Me and mine live below in the weather, where we can be safe. Who are you? Where are you? Strange. Cuts off.
I'll tell the group. what he said. I don't know if we can trust it's actually him, or that he's not compromised, or that these messages aren't compromised. But if it is safe, deep in the water, I mean, that's good for him. I don't know if that could help us have a place to retreat to or scout from. And if I ask Cecil for more information, I have to be careful that it doesn't tip off the bad in there. That people are prying. That we're prying.
But I can't say too much.
I think,
I'll
assuming that it is him, I'm glad that he's safe, obviously. If they're in water, we can maybe assume that water is not the ideal place for these creatures to go deep down below, or whatever reach or influence it hasn't been able to reach the deepest parts of the cauldron.
I mean, it is called the Black Goat of the Woods, and there are no woods underwater typically. Not that deep.
Yes, perhaps it simply cannot thrive there, and whatever sort of infestation was spreading around throughout the rest of the cauldron wasn't able to reach deep enough, or wasn't strong enough to affect Cecil and his brood. They are krakens, after all.
Is this true?
Should I send another message? Try to get more information? Or should we play it safe?
It's entirely up to you. I know nothing, personally.
You can
Uh,
probably just tell him that. I mean, if you wanted to be coy, right? Tell him that we're the ones with his figurehead. The enemy probably wouldn't know what the heck that means.
I'll send back. You gave us your figurehead long ago. I hope the darkness doesn't last. Anything you can tell us would be helpful. But stay safe. And lie low.
Is that it?
Yeah.
My friends. Where are you, friends? How do you talk to me from where you are? Are you here in water behind me? I look and I cannot see you. I'm confused. But we in my pod stay low. We remain here and we will not be taken. The creatures become strange. Everything is dark.
I hope we will meet in person again someday. Until then, I'm speaking from very far away, inside your mind. I will reach out again when I can. It's magic. I'm glad you're safe.
You keep speaking at strange times and not listening to everything I say. This magic is bad. Use better magic to contact me next time, so you can hear every...
Did he mean?
Probably means that he's talking the whole time.
He doesn't know it's got 25-word limit.
I wonder what he's been saying. That we. I guess I forgot that I needed to tell people to be concise. I mean, I can keep sending messages back and forth.
Yeah, so he's talking to you and then waiting for a response, or not waiting for a response, and then just still trying to talk, and there's no response suddenly. And then suddenly he'll be in the middle of talking and you'll just start responding like to something he said a long time ago. He's like, "You're not listening to me."
Yeah, I get. I don't want to make the Kraken mad, but I will have a proper conversation with him. I still hate to risk using Dream of the Blue Veil, but I feel a little bit better about it now that I feel fairly confident that Cecil is not compromised.
Yeah, I think he's just like in the water with his family, like, we're not going up there.
I might be able to visit him without getting locked up.
If underwater's safe, though, maybe we should send everyone in with water breathing and just
right down to the bottom.
Well, just in the waterways, even, right? If it hasn't,
Yeah.
It may
Depends
be
on how far
safer.
underwater too, probably.
Well, yeah, but if it's all surface level and he stays generally out of the water, just
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not a bad idea. I don't want to draw attention to Cecil and his brood.
well, I'm not. We don't even have to go down to him. We could
Yeah,
get
I'm
him
just
to the center of the. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as far as I'm aware, the creatures on the top level that reside within the upper oceans have been changed in some way, just from what we've been able to gather.
He's probably in the deep.
Right.
Yes. He is in the lower oceans, the farthest deep part of the cauldron, below which the Charybdis used to drain.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, while you were having your conversations, I stepped aside and I sent the message necessary. We will be receiving the Unseen Battalion as soon as possible. In the coming weeks, they should arrive. At the farthest out a month, it should not take a full day for them to reach us. And then we can begin our reconnaissance with our specialized unit and get the Unseen Viper making whatever poisons or potions we think might be useful for this venture. Is this the final list that I'll be sending to Primus? It's a very small number.
Yes, but those are stronger units that can do area damage effects. So one versus many is very useful, I think.
Does everybody else agree that this is the best way to do this?
I certainly don't disagree.
I mean, Grim does not understand robot people very well. So, you know.
I think this is as good a plan as any. Fewer but stronger.
The question is, are they, what do you call it? Okay, they are consecutive. That's the important part. We want
Yes,
them to be consecutive.
From my understanding, a septon, if it were to die, an octon would step up to become a septon.
That is good.
Likewise, a pentadrone would step up to become a decaton if a decaton died.
Maybe it would be a good idea to take away some decatons just to have a stock of pentadrones.
But the pentadrones will get wiped out super fast.
You hold them back so that you can just keep replenishing decatons.
I mean, we could take out one decaton, and that would give us 50 pentadrones.
50 or 20?
50. A decaton's 100 points. A pentadrone is 5.
That's
Yeah,
20.
That's 20.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100
Oh, yeah,
and
sorry.
500. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, that would give you
Well, even 20
more.
is still a lot.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, if you take like 2 decatons away, right, that gives you 40 pentadrones, and then as they're dying, you can just funnel out another 40 decatons. Just hold the pentadrones back, and just keep sending them out.
Well, so if a decaton dies, does one pentadrone become a decaton?
Correct.
Okay, so we would always have 8 out, basically, until we run out of pentadrones.
Correct.
Mhm.
And you would always have 4 septons out until you ran out of octons, which they would upgrade. And when an octon upgrades, the next one would upgrade.
Yeah.
So in theory, if something at the top dies, as long as you have a chain of command going all the way to the bottom, a monodrone, by the end, could turn into a hexton or a septon. It's all about finding the proper mix.
They might be too weak to fight on their own, but if we just keep them in reserve. Oh yeah, somebody could probably come and just wipe them all out, and that would kind of ruin the plan. But
Indeed. If not positioned properly, it all comes down to how we use them. But just figure out exactly what number you wish to do of which ones, if unless you want to stick to this one, or just take 2 away of the decatons and turn them into 40 pentadrones.
Yeah, I think that would be alright.
I agree.
That
Let's do
gives
that.
us backup units to feed the higher ups.
All right. Well, we can give them the instructions whenever they arrive here. They've been instructed to follow our every orders. So, as long as we tell them the strategy, they should be able to make use of whatever squadron, whatever quadrant we give them or biome we give them within the area, and ideally hold it for a significant amount of time and create a big distraction without losing a whole bunch of monodromes in general. But I've been informed that in general this is what they do. They are an army that has never truly been defeated 100%, as they constantly replenish themselves. Well then. If you'll send me the proper list, I will take that and put it into account, and then we will use it to decide what to do with them next. Now, speaking of, do we want to try to do the traversal via plants, or do we want to just windwalk ourselves from the beginning?
I say we try first. At least tell us if the tree is still there.
More importantly, we could probably cause a bit of a distraction ourselves and lead a number of whatever entities might be within this place into the savannah, correct?
Yeah.
Although the savannah itself is probably also teeming with monsters.
Uh, yeah. Probably.
There we have
I
it.
think.
I will send this information over to Primus, and he will provide it with us. They should be here, now that we've sent the list, within about a month our time. We are 4 months before the day of strike, so. You see, he sort of clearly just sets off to the side. It's just you guys now, as he begins sending his report for what you guys want for the COG battalion, or the COG brigade.
I feel like without more information about what's going on the ground in there, I think we have as much of a plan as we can rely on. What we want to do with our units and where we want to send them could change completely once we get in there and see what's actually going on, so...
Yeah, the reconnaissance will be very useful to make further plans.
Yeah.
Very well. So we can go ahead and skip ahead in time if you guys want. If there's anything you would like to accomplish in the time before they arrive, we can do so. Otherwise, you can say that you spend the month doing whatever preparations you can, and we can start making investigation checks for the cauldron.
Investigation.
So this is what the way this is going to work is we're going to use your 2 different groups of the battalion that are capable of scouting. You can send where to send your rat and where to send your cat. And you're going to pick a biome, and then you're going to make an investigation check, and depending on how well they would be able to function in that area without being seen, I'm going to roll an investigation check. If you roll below the threshold necessary, units will die. And you will not get as much information. If you roll significantly above, you will get a lot of information, and they may even come back with exact numbers.
Well, I'm not gonna roll because my investigation stinks.
No, the investigation is the number that you are going to be rolling with is going to be based on how well you're using them. So
What? Okay, so we have like 150 of the cat's units, which is the stealth assassination, like, strike team. And then we have 100 of the rat unit, which is like subterfuge. Of course, my headset would start dying right now.
The rat group is the stealth recon group.
correct. But the other ones the cats can also be used as scouts in unfamiliar territory. They excel at it because of their stealth capabilities.
So
They're just not as good at like getting in around dangerous situations. They sort of have to hide out of sight. These things can walk among a group of other creatures
and pretend to be them. There are a lot of like shape changers and polymorphers and shit like that.
That's what the rats are?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do we want to maybe send like 50 cats to the savannah to scout it out and, you know, see what the deal is with the savannah? And then send, you know, kind of divide in, look at as many different places as we can.
Well, we definitely need to scout each of the ways in to see which way in would be best suited for our groups. Right?
Yeah, so if
Sure.
we divide, yeah, so somebody scout Purity, somebody scout Strive, have people drop down into the savannah from the Purity entrance if they can.
And at the strife side, what are the two biomes next to the way in there?
If you
Gold
wanted
and
to do
gold.
it from both sides to investigate, one of those units is going to take significantly longer before it'll take a few weeks before they're even able to start their investigation, because they'll have to make it all the way across the Cauldron of Strife.
I mean, okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
We can't outfit them with like an airship or something to make it go zoom zoom to get them there.
Well, the thing about the airships is that whereas some of them, if they're outfitted properly, are like Spelljammer, if it's a Spelljammer, it could travel outside of these spheres. If it's not a Spelljammer, they would die if they tried to fly outside of the designated pathways between the two places. You
Okay.
also don't have your airships here yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't have anything here yet.
Yeah, so basically, in order to get those airships here, they're going to be sending them in parts or plane shifting the whole thing, which is a lot of work.
So for now, it'd probably be best just to send rats for the initial place, and then they can give information to the cats, so the cats can go in after them and not get caught in the first area.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to you guys.
Works.
The only other thing I could think is maybe send a few cats to back up the rats in case they need to take anybody out.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea at all.
All right,
do we
so you got your numbers. What would you like to send?
Just
You don't have to worry too much about logistics. Just say how many units, where you want them to go, and it'll be a week of time for each scouting.
I mean,
Well,
do we
should
want
we
to
just start with Purity? Scout that and the Savannah?
Well, if it's going to be a week to hear anything back, and then we decide we want to scout more areas, you know, by the time we actually get information and go in, everything could have changed.
Well, I think the point would be to scout.
It's going to be
where
a
we
week.
want to set up base.
It's going to be a week in the Cauldron of Purity.
Gotcha. So that'll be
It's not a week.
a
It's not a
quarter of a
week in
day.
there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's taking them a quarter of a day to do their scouting
Okay.
and come back.
That's fine then. Yes, I think initially then let's send in some rats with a couple of cat backups.
Because they've got to travel as fast as, even if they're traveling super fast, that's still like 30 miles there and back. So they can only do it so quickly.
Right. But yeah, so I think yes, send in the initial group.
How many? The whole unit? The whole battalion? The whole
Oh, I don't know if we need the whole unit, do we?
Was the intention? Are they all meant to for reconnaissance? All of the rats?
The rats are useful in typically reconnaissance and planting people behind enemy lines.
Okay.
I would just send half of them.
Yeah. 50 rats with like, what, 10 cats?
25.
5 cats? Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then they're there to scout the purity area, and then maybe drop
And the
down to the
savannah.
savannah if
Yeah.
conditions are favorable for that.
Because we got to look. We basically need to find a place to set up base in here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're a base.
So if we can take over the savannah, that gives us trees to work with, right?
Yep.
It also gives us plenty of land to mount defenses.
Okay, so that's what you're sending in?
50 rats, 25 cats.
Roll a d20. Whoever wants to.
Anybody? I'll do it, I guess.
I got it.
You got it?
I was just 16.
Nice.
16. So. The reconnaissance units come back after a week. And there are a few casualties. So you lost only 3 units from the rats. And the report.
The place is crawling with infested. Strange chimera-like creatures. Good sense of smell. The rats they perceived as our own, we carry with us something found within the jeweled undercity in the mines. Makes them think they were one of them. However, the cats did not carry such things at first, and as we moved in a separate unit, they found one of them quicker. However, of course they were able to get away. It simply stirred up others and made some panic happen. We do not have exact numbers for you, as we had to retreat early after our casualties. However, we were able to determine that the area is filled with mainly land-based creatures, numbering somewhere around 200 to 300 would be our best guess. They are basically loitering around, and our presence was not enough to draw any undue attention. On our way through, however, we found a lot of the ocean water has been drained. We were able to cross via a very small amount of actual water travel, and were able to climb amongst the rocks, more or less. Simply moving from island to island. Traversing via boat down the actual pathways towards the center seems the only way to actually get there if you're moving towards the Lifespring Cradle itself. However, an actual land unit could easily make its way to the savannah. The problem is the drop. We were able to get there via the small number of magicians around us, capable of using a little bit of a reverse gravity at the bottom. And then we were able to make our way back up via regular climbing. Climbing down amongst the rocks to get there is too much work, too much time. So without a mage capable of using a spell such as that, I would not send a group there.
Well,
That's the information you receive.
okay.
Well, interesting that they've drained a lot of the water. That seems to strengthen our suspicions about them not liking water very much.
What if we were to make a way to get people down? I have an
Mass
idea.
produce your featherfall discs.
Well, I had a different idea, but it is with Featherfall. What if we make, essentially, a large ring that everyone would jump through that would get Featherfall as they pass through it?
A featherfall hula hoop?
Much bigger than a hula hoop, but yes. It would be stationary, and everyone would have to pass through it.
So you would just place it somewhere within the air or something like that, or
Yes.
and they would jump down through it.
Yep.
Using like the same sort of technology as an immovable rod to lock it in place, and then a simple spell casting field between them within the ring itself that casts feather. It seems interesting. I'm not the kind of person who does that.
I mean, if it is
sneak,
something you can make
but
that can be
it would
used.
certainly help us get down faster. Our way back up would be difficult still. Once we were down there, that was the reason for the casualties. Our attempt to retreat once we were made. It's hard to escape while climbing up rock.
Yes, we would need to make sure to clear out everything down there. That's probably the most important thing.
Yeah, I think we're going to set up base of operations in the savannah. We're going to clear it. That's going to be
That
the
is
first
entirely your choice if that is what you all wish to do. My biggest concern is that if we were to cause more ruckus than just having a couple of these behemoths chase after us, it could get dangerous fast. We did see the thing that flies about. It didn't engage us, didn't see us, but we saw it. Large black bird soaring throughout the sky.
Similar to the one in the Cauldron of Strife?
I don't know what you're speaking of.
There is a rock in the Cauldron of Strife.
I don't believe it is that size, but it's huge. Probably a 30, 40-foot wingspan. About
Interesting.
about the size of a dragon, but clearly feathered.
Is it... There was a phoenix in there? Perhaps the phoenix has been corrupted?
Perhaps.
I was wondering if perhaps the phoenix was corrupted, or if it was even able to be corrupted.
You may all theorize as you wish. Otherwise, we are going to go hold a ceremony for those that we lost and begin our next investigation.
Of course.
All right.
So, where would you guys like to send anybody next?
Well, I think the plains are probably a little risky. Like the hills and whatnot. Probably a little risky because there's not much to hide behind there.
So
It's just
I'm gonna.
open.
I did have an
So this-
idea of how we can make it easier for people to get out as well. Essentially the same thing. Place a ring down, but this ring would cast reverse gravity to make a little elevator. But it would need multiple to get all the way up.
Yeah,
So
that
you
would
go
be.
from one ring to the next, up, 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 up.
And that being a level 7 spell would be probably a lot harder to craft.
So I have changed the look of the entry point for as the scouting has changed.
So did they only scout the left side here? Or did they also scout this right side?
We only told them to do the entrance and the savannah.
Okay.
Yep, just the entrance in the savannah. $200 to $300. It's their estimated numbers. So where did you want to send anybody next?
I mean, we may as well do the right side that's closest, yeah?
That is
Well,
the swamp.
what would the advantage be of that area, though?
So
Yeah, I
that
mean,
is
they're-
the oasis.
I mean, it's just closest, yeah?
I mean,
But that's also
obviously-
the area where the scorpions and things were, huh?
So you guys engage the scorpions and the like here.
Weren't they like here? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's getting
But
towards
this
the
area would
that's-
have similar creatures.
Okay.
So you probably wouldn't have this like this angry butthole looking area is the
That's where we fought the
volcano. This is where you fought the phoenix and the Tloxodon.
Axolotl. Yeah.
Or we can stare at the map for 5 minutes and then end the session.
I mean, I don't
I
think
mean-
we need to scout every zone. We only need to scout the zones that
we might
we need
pass
to do
through.
something in.
Yeah,
Well, I
Real
mean, you
question
don't want
is
to be.
just-
or at least those should be our first priority.
You also don't want to have an area with like 500 enemies coming up behind you
Yeah, I mean, yes.
because you didn't scout it.
I mean, there is no coming up behind us if we're in the savannah.
No, I know, but like if you're moving from your thing to the center or something, they're gonna come up. They could come up through the.
if this is the kind of entity that has like a hive mind or something, like if shit starts to go down, we want hello cat. Okay, thank you for the butt in my face. Then obviously we don't want to be surprised by like, oops, there was like 17 tentacle horrible monsters now closing in on us that we didn't know about. But you know, we also don't want to risk our scouts not coming back for information that might be less important if we're not passing through that area. So if our plan is go to Savannah and then reappear in Taiga through the plants, great, cool, we can do that. It would be very cool to know what's going on in the Taiga if we can. Before we get that far.
So we should send rats to the taiga then.
That's a pretty long trip, though,
It is a very long trip.
and who knows if they'll survive that trip.
Going to the taiga, they would have to face the entire cauldron on the way there, basically.
Yeah, they're gonna die.
The
if you send them
Well-
all the way to the taiga.
the other plan, if that one doesn't work, if the tree thing doesn't work, is to just gas our way across. So, should we have them look at the next place we would be likely to pass over as gases?
I would say maybe that rainforest area on the right side. But again, that's pretty far from.
That's farther than the taiga.
Well, I don't know if it's farther than the taiga.
Talking about the big one right on the.
No, I'm talking
To the
about the
east?
little one.
This one?
That's rainforest. The one above is actual woodlands,
Oh, okay.
and it's on an upper level. Those are the lower levels.
Yeah.
There are basically 3 tiers. The oceans are at the top, and then you've got the other ones in the middle, and then the other ones, the smaller ones, are all the way at the bottom. And then even further down than that are the bottom oceans, which are like where the krakens are.
Yep. Well, we shall have to discuss things offline.
Yes.
Yeah.
And while you guys think about that, do whatever you will. We'll go ahead and end our session there for today. Thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. We won't be playing for 3 weeks, probably. So
We don't know.
they'll have plenty of time to talk about this offline and figure out a legit plan. But until then, we love you. And remember, as always, we did it for the
We
rolls.
did it for the rolls.
Good night.
Good night.